Tonight on Journey's Prime, President Addo announces 28% increase in cocoa producer price effective October 1.
Beginning on 1st October 2020, this year, I'm happy to announce the award of a new cocoa producer price of 10,560 cedis per metric ton.
We'll be getting reactions from the cocoa farmers. Former President Mahama accuses the Electoral Commission of mismanaging the electoral register, warning the NDC will not accept the results of a flawed election.
Let me serve notice once again that we will not accept the result of a flawed election.
The EC has, however, assured the political parties at an IPAC meeting on Thursday all the anomalies will be resolved.
The Electoral Commission is doing all in its power to ensure that all the problems that have, arisen out of the within the process are being rectified.
Also in this bulletin, nurses and midwives resume work after 3 days strike. And in business,
Civil society group on cocoa describes the new cocoa producer price announced by government as impressive as they project more cocoa yields in the next crop season. Cocoa Board is being urged to, as a matter of urgency, realize the purpose for instituting the
And later in this bulletin, we'll tell you about the Backmans, one of the many families who have undying love for Joy FM, the first station in the multimedia group to be established. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Joining News Prime comes to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle on GA0092539 on your digital terrestrial TV, because we're free to air on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. Effective October 1, cocoa farmers will enjoy a 28% increment in the producer price of their produce. President Addo announced the increase in the amount to be paid the cocoa farmers at the launch of the cocoa rehabilitation program at Sefirioso in the Western North region. He also announced plans to rejuvenate overaged farms and replant all farms affected by the swollen shoe disease and compensation for farmers whose farms are beyond redemption.
The current 2019-20 producer price of 8,420 cedis per metric ton, i.e. 514 cedis per bag, was an 8.2% increase over the 2018-2019 price of 7,615 cedis, that is 475 cedis per bag. Nananom, beginning on 1st October 2020, this year, I'm happy to announce the award of a new cocoa producer price of 10,560 cedis per metric ton. Equivalent to 660 cedis per bag for the coming 2021 cocoa season.
The increase in the cocoa producer price should certainly come as good news to the farmers. Joining us in the studio is Stevenson Anani Boateng. He's president of the Ghana National Cocoa Farmers Association. What does this mean to you and your colleagues?
Oh, we thank you very much, and the viewers. It means something to us. We are very, very happy in the way things have been presented. All along, we're looking forward to see price increase of cocoa. Better still, we've prayed for something for a long time, and that is our welfare, which is a pension scheme and the health insurance. That will actually motivate us to produce more and encourage more youth and others to come and join us.
Does this increase meet your expectation, or you actually wanted more?
Actually, when we met my colleagues before this election, this proposal, we thought about it, and most of them were coming out with different suggestions. But we most of them agree on 1,000 Ghana cedi if it will be possible.
Okay.
But we know this thing, governments always compare price with the international market. So for that matter, we cannot do anything.
So how much are they giving you now?
It's a 28% increase, which is 660 cedis.
660
and it's quite appreciable.
There are people who feel that this is coming at this time, few months into elections. It's just something to woo you to vote for or to win votes. Will this in any way affect your decision come December?
Well, we know cocoa farmers are always been, have this type of tricks which always encourage us to vote. And it's election time. So definitely that is another strategy almost all the politicians do. And for that matter, our case, we expect it to be done, and it has done. So we don't consider or think more about whether it is political or whatever. We were expecting something to be done.
Are you still expecting some more goodies?
Well, what we are expecting now, as I told you earlier on, is that we are interested if our pension scheme, which is more of our welfare, will come through, especially our health insurance, which has been proposed for a long time, and fight for the pension scheme and the health insurance. That is what we are much interested on, because we don't have future security. That is our main problem, because even if it is increased to 1,000 or 2,000, we still fight for more. But if our welfare is well done or is established, I think it will help us, and it will encourage more youth to the business. Because cocoa industry, it looks like old men and old people are always in, which don't actually encourage the system.
The president has also spoken about actually compensating people who lost their farms to the swollen shoot disease, and also help others to put up their farms. Is this welcoming news as well?
Well, this thing is already there. It's there, but we find it difficult to get this thing done, because most of our farmers are complaining, because this thing was there before, for about since Kufuor administration, and that time it was doing well. But now we are having a lot of challenges there. When you go to Western North, for instance, I remember when my team visited that area, we met a situation, very sad situation, which was those people who had this problem, and they cut their cocoa, and then the payments and the compensation were not paid and all that. So if government has said it, we expect them to do, not that for the sake of political destiny they do. We expect them to do whatever they promise, so that farmers will also know that, truly speaking, they are helping us.
I'm grateful for your time. Stevenson Anane is president of the National Cocoa Farmers Association. He's been speaking about the increase in the producer prices that the president announced recently. Now, that Safohene for the Mponuahene of the Ewutu Traditional Council has been killed after he and others were shot at by a group of land guards numbering 10. 3 other persons are also in critical condition following the incident in a confrontation over a piece of land at Ewutu Kwabonze near Kaswa in the central region. That's Safohene and his team are said to have gone to the site to pay his workers who were constructing a fence wall on a parcel of land. One of the laborers, Yabuabing, narrates the incident.
I did say 20 meters be kakrabino, ebe mwada be mwan say two kukubushi mama free chisana nkofo na beta odi dada. Ah elebre po mi nimse nkofo bisa won. Nti eto ni kikiki no ana eka amun nananu nkofo ni bi ana bi adwane ani motorbikes ani nti baku a owo ma o yesede o free mu no ana AK no asen pa ko no ye be shooter or ko school or shooting minim bi a me dwane ko tete no omo mu hu mi ba mi ade e koso ni na me hu omo tu mi to no de otina form wan sore nsa ne hu ni na popopopo wan sore ana mu ye den musa di ne chi wo no mu musa ye musa tia na musa bon tu wo form ayen so o menim na me hu ba bi a me hye no me so me hu popo me so me jimi o me den o be kumi so se me den so me so me twi me hu a me tete ana no an se omo bon no wi na obi adwane motorbikes akeka ho motorbikes en krofo moto nana no kola ne moto no akeka ho omo be sisa moto no body no so car ya be gina ho no omo fa body no ahye car no.
Meanwhile, some of the Asafo members who sustained gunshot wounds accused one Kofai as the man behind the attack.
No, amu bi kura kita AK-47, bimu kita Kofa Nkasa no kita pistol, stopper kita AK-47, even is 10G su kita AK-47, and Nikwe onu su kita AK-47, and sa Ogbanzo onu su kita pompa money me baby. Until me the phone no share me bag ni say. So abubo na eba me kokoso no na phone ni e den phone ni so mu eje intimity e ka ebi ka meti ha mienu na mienu susu me nan mu
yan si o moto no susu kwa process ni kra no mo start mo na sorry no mo bubo etu anto no kan miti enemy sha ni menu abako ye dun abako so ye nana oshipi dako onu so AK kanu.
The Mponohene of Owutu Traditional Council, Nai Kwabena Atopi I, is meanwhile calling on the IGP to ensure justice as it could lead to reprisals.
Currently, what is making the situation so sad and bad is that we cannot even trace the body. But fortunately, there were eyewitnesses who saw what happened, and so have given an accountant for which we have also asked that they go and give all those reports to the police. What is so disturbing to me again, which I must state, is that on the 12th of September, around this same project, same work, these land guards made an attempt on our people, stole their working tools together with their motorbikes, which they used to go to the site. Myself, I personally called the district commander here, and the report was lodged. By mystery, these motorbikes found their way to the police station. I was thinking that once the bike and the tools were there, police would have apprehended some people, and then we'll go into the matter because we understand they did some shooting there too. But nothing of that sort happened before this incident that happened just yesterday. I just want to go on record and say that as a chief in an area, this land is our land. This land is our land, and we are not prepared in any way to leave it out to a self-styled supposed land guard who wants to use guns to take our land.
Public Relations Officer for the Palu Dam project, David Pra, has reiterated the work on the $1 billion facility has only stalled because of the Bagri Dam spillage and resultant flooding. The dam has been touted as the long-term solution to the perennial flooding which ravages the 3 regions in the northern region. Workers on site say they were asked to stop work 4 months ago because of a lack of funds, but Mr. Pra says this is not the case.
So campsite, but we have not finished with all of them because we are going to take at least at a go about 1,002 workers on a site. This is a huge project, so about 1,002 workers on the site. About 50 workers can live there, but it's an ongoing activity. Kindly note that the area that we have even earmarked for construction of campsites are there, the additional campsites. But unfortunately, because of the high level of the water, and then because we are going to the core area that we are going to work is in the water, it's very prudent and wise that you stay off and let the danger recede, and then you can proceed. Otherwise, how do you go? People's properties have been flooded. Meanwhile, we need to value those properties. We need to demarcate properly, lift what we have on the drawing on the site.
Right.
In some cases, there can even be some little variation.
Right.
So please, let the flood recede a bit, and then you can ask, I will go on tour with you, because our multimedia has been very helpful. Let me tell you, when we started with this project, you've been very helpful. But construction of dam is not like possibly one or two things. No.
However, Kwabena Kwamnam, the carpenter who now serves as a caretaker at the stalled construction site, tells the Super Morning Show host Kojo Yang the flooding did not affect the construction site.
This year, when the dam was built, our conversation with the Minister for Works and Housing revealed that the government of Ghana is implementing what they call the final solution, the Palu Dam. This dam is supposed to offtake the water whenever the Bagre Dam is built in Burkina Faso. So all the water in the White Volta that rises up and floods 3 regions will be directed into the Palu Dam for electricity as well as irrigation. It's not the first time this idea has come up. In 2008, the government of Ghana secured over $500 million to build the Palu Dam. That money got diverted into road construction. This time around, government of Ghana has secured almost $1 billion to build the same dam. This is evidence of what work has been done so far. Chinese partners will be constructing the project. Let's go in and have a look. So how long have you been at this location?
We are here for 3 months now.
3 months?
3 months
okay.
now.
And what are you building here?
We are for here is just for temporary camp.
Okay.
So this block that they are molding is for the camp that they are going to use for building it.
Okay.
And these are the project distance panels. This one that we are going to use for the concrete for dam site.
Okay.
These are all the material for the business.
So this is just where the workers will be staying, the temporary camp.
No, please. No. Yeah, the temporary camp. We are all staying here. Yeah.
But okay, so
and then the Chinese people, we are all staying here.
Okay. Yeah. All right. But these things, they are going to use them to build
a camp, rooms. For us to stay.
For you to stay in. All right. Okay.
But they told us that here is a distant warehouse. They said they would use this one for warehouse.
Okay.
And then this at the back of the zinc. That's the place where they are going to build the camp.
The camp for the residents.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So in the end, you will build a warehouse.
Warehouse.
And then a camp there.
Yes, please.
Where would the dam be?
It will be this side, behind the mountain.
Okay, so down that way.
Yeah, down side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And we can see that the water is the Volta, White Volta is just here.
Just here.
Okay.
Just at the corner of us. It's not far from us.
So when the Bagre Dam was built, did the water affect your work here?
No, please.
Okay. So you have been able to continue working.
To work.
Okay. All right. But for 3 months, I don't see much. It seems you have just stored your things here, but I haven't seen any.
When the first thing when we came, all of here was just bush.
Okay.
We cleared the road from Wulugu to here.
So you made the road from Wulugu to all the way here,
and from Wulugu to here is 21 miles. We started it first before we come here.
Okay.
That's why we did it.
So that's what you've been doing for 3 months?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And that was not affected by the spilling of the dam?
The The National Democratic Congress has donated some relief items to victims of the recent floods at Nawoni, Afayele, and several other communities within the Kumbungu district of the northern region. In all, 9 districts in the region were affected by the floods, with about 15,200 persons affected. Martina Bugri has more in the following report.
Dr. Hamza Adams, aspiring NDC parliamentary candidate for Kumbungu in the upcoming December polls, who did the presentation, said a team had initially done an assessment and they made an appeal to the leadership of the party for support, which they responded positively.
We are here representing the Umbrella family. We were here initially to commiserate with our people, to see and to do an assessment of the situation. And upon the assessment, we made a passionate appeal to the leadership of NDC. So I'm here, the party has responded positively. They have provided a number of items, including 40 bags of rice. We also have used clothing. We also have 8 cartons of cooking oil, about 200 mosquito nets. In addition to that, we also have caps. So I'm here to make the donation to the good people of Nawoni and other affected communities on behalf.
Let's get on to your election headquarters now, because former President John Mahama is accusing the Electoral Commission of mismanaging the voters' register, leading to the omission of names, warning the NDC will not accept the results of a flawed election. The NDC flag bearer told the media briefing at the NDC headquarters the EC has shown over the years that it is not committed to a transparent election.
We in the NDC have exhibited restraint at all times in this electoral process. Even now, we're committed to doing so. But let me serve notice, once again, that we will not accept the result of a flawed election. We will certainly not look on. Neither will we shirk our civic responsibility and allow the EC, whether by ill intent or sheer incompetence, to usurp the people's mandate in the December 7 poll. The Electoral Commission must take immediate steps to rectify and sanitize the register and re-exhibit it to afford the voting public and all stakeholders an opportunity to verify their particulars in the voters' register before it is finalized. My brothers and sisters, this moment demands of us to act with patriotic zeal to preserve the peace and stability of our beloved nation, Ghana.
Mr. Mahama says in places like the Asawase constituency, more names have been added to the register, while in NDC strongholds, names have been omitted, including that of his running mate, Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman.
In the central region, glaring cases of duplication of card numbers were also recorded in 14 centers in the Komenda, Edina, Eguafo, Ebrem constituency. And one of such cases involved my running mate, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. She went to her center to check her name. She sent somebody to check her name, and they said she had to come herself because her number was duplicated. Somebody else had the same number as her. And so she had to come and collect the card and take it to the district office to go and sort it out. And so she had to drive from Komenda to Elmina, where the district office of the EC is. And at Elmina, they took the old card from her, destroyed it, and replaced it with a new card. I mean, being who she is, she could make the trip to Elmina. What of the poor farmer in the village who comes and finds out that their card is not valid? Are they going to travel to Elmina to replace the card?
The Electoral Commission is meanwhile assuring political parties it is committed to safeguarding the integrity of the electoral roll and pledged to rectify anomalies that have characterized the ongoing exhibition exercise. Speaking to Joy News at a just-ended inter-party advisory committee meeting at the EC, Director of Communications Sylvia Addo said the Commission will soon commence a continuous registration exercise to allow persons who were unable to register in the mass registration exercise to do so. She says that will be soon, and she's been speaking with Kwesi Parker-Wilson.
With IPAC, you always have divergent. Most of the time, you have divergent views, and for us, it's very normal. Except that when the issues come up, we also need to educate the general public and let them know that the Electoral Commission will not delete the names of qualified persons from the voters register. And again, to assure the general public that the Electoral Commission is doing all in its power to ensure that all the problems that have arisen out of the within the process are being rectified.
Now, finally, what's the way forward now? Now that we are done with IPAC, what's the way forward? I know that you've extended the registration, the exhibition exercise, 2 more days, yes. So it's not going to end on Sunday. And again, we are told that there's some continuous registration. I mean, what was this?
The details will be unfolded by the Commission. It may be announced by the Commission, so let's wait. No. At the moment, let's talk about the exhibition. That's the most important thing. At the right time.
From the EC itself.
Yeah, the Commission may come out to announce that. So let's wait for that to happen. The details of that to be.
Was it part of your conversation? Because other political parties talked about it when I was speaking to them.
Yes, the Commission will come out formally to announce it. Okay. The continuous registration, and come out with the modalities and the dates. To allow those who, for one reason or the other, could not register during the period that was allotted, the general public to do so.
I see. And when should we expect this announcement?
As soon as practicable, the Commission will come out.
Very
soon.
We are barely just about 12 days to enter the 60 days cut-off point. Is this feasible?
The Commission is mindful of that, so definitely it will be within the scope.
But is it feasible? You register, you exhibit, they validate their names before you capture them?
It is doable.
It is doable?
Yes. Let us wait for the Commission to come out.
The OppositionNDC, however, says a continuous registration exercise is not feasible, considering the Commission is obliged to end all registrations in 12 days, according to the stipulated 60 days to election cut-off date. We're still live on Joy News Prime, and we'll be back with more after this break.
Hello there, it's time for business with me, Charles Aite. Now, as you may have heard, Ghana's cocoa will now be sold at 660 cedis per bag for the 2020-2021 crop season. Now, this is a 28% jump from the 514 cedi producer price in the previous season. Now, before this announcement by the president, the Ghana Civil Society Cocoa Platform called for an increase in the living income differential of cocoa farmers to a minimum of 672 Ghana cedis per bag. Here's more in this report. Cocoa Board is being urged to, as a matter of urgency, realize the purpose for instituting the living income differential so as to make up for the losses due to the fall in international cocoa prices as a result of COVID-19. In July 2019, Ghana and Ivory Coast, that control over 60% of the world's cocoa production, agreed on a floor price of $2,600 per ton of cocoa beans and also a living income differential of $400 per ton of cocoa. This will be paid by chocolate and cocoa processing companies to farmers commencing in the 2020-2021 cocoa season. Meanwhile, the Civil Society Cocoa Platform is requesting that Cocoa Board pays farmers a minimum of 672.6 cedis, approximately $118 per bag of cocoa beans. This figure was arrived using the lowest projected values available, including the living income differential of $400 per ton as agreed. Based on the 2019-2020 parameters for calculating the net FOB for cocoa beans, they expect the net FOB for the 2020-2021 cocoa crop season to be not less than 90% of the prevailing world cocoa market price. Well, we're joined by a coordinator of the Ghana Civil Society Cocoa Platform, Addo, for some reactions to this development. If you could hear me, Obed, welcome to the program. Now, the president announced 660 cedis per bag of cocoa beans. You earlier called for 672 Ghana cedis per bag. Has expectation been met?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, by and large, we commend the government for that very bold decision to increase the price by 28%. But as you rightly said, it is still a bit below the expectation that we were looking for that should go to the farmer. And just a point of correction, we made our projection with the assumption that the government was going to retain about 20% of the living income differential. But as it turned out, they have given all the $400 to the farmer. So by our projection and by that increment that they did, they should have been able to do a bit more than they did. But by and large, we think it's very, very commendable that the government did what they did.
Great. Now, we know that Ghana and Ivory Coast in 2019 agreed on a living income differential, as you rightly stated, of $400 per ton of cocoa. How does this inform the current price?
Thank you very much. When you look at the current price of cocoa on the international market, you realize that it has really dropped. It has dropped since last year to around last Friday. It was around $2,474 per ton of cocoa. So there has been almost like a 23 to 24% drop in the price since the beginning of the year. So in July last year, when they instituted the LID, the assumption was that it will make up for some of these losses. And based on the projections and the calculations, if the LID was fully implemented as it is being implemented now, we expect that the government should have been able to pay farmers about 698 Ghana cedis per ton of cocoa and per bag of cocoa.
Great. In 30 seconds, we do know that we're going to be opening the new cocoa season amid COVID-19. What are your projections?
The Cocoa Board has said that they are expecting increments in the production of cocoa. We are expecting that farmers will go to the station, the various LBCs, and get a good measurement. The problem has always been that when they take their 64 kilos of cocoa to the pump, they don't get a good measure. There is mostly a tweaking of the scale, and the cocoa farmers are shortchanged. So we're expecting that the government will make sure that the LBCs do not shortchange the cocoa farmers, and indeed they measure their cocoa according to the scale that they are taking their cocoa to the pump.
Great. Obed, we're so grateful that you joined us there. Here's the coordinator for the Civil Society Group on Cocoa Farmers. Away from the cocoa sector to a very interesting development with trio lotteries, where a law clerk has won 20,000 cedis in the weekly draw. Very competitive. There is more in this report.
Abdullah Muhammad, a law clerk, has won himself 20,000 cedis from three-year lotteries, which operate through star 787 #. When the check was presented to him, he had this to say.
Honestly, I felt sick when it happened because it was a weekend. And then I couldn't believe myself. When I was called, I was like someone mourning. I'm mourning my grandpa though, but when it came, I should be more excited. I said like stroke crying. You see, but all the same, we just took the news calmly. They didn't want to alarm the whole house, because when it happens like that, your landlord can even come and tell you, hey, I say, next month, I'll take my money, you see. So, star 787 #, it's very real. Don't stop at once. when you do, you don't get, keep pushing it to get there.
Richard Akoto Bamfo, head of customer experience at Wutriye Lotteries, says people should take part in lotteries. According to him, this Saturday will record the biggest lottery jackpot in its history.
The new jackpot value for this Saturday is 222,000 Ghana cedis. You stand a chance to win only if you take your phone to dial *787# to play now. A ticket is only 5 Ghana cedis. You stand a chance to equally win 1,000 Ghana cedis this Thursday with only 3 tickets in the draw. Don't waste much time. Just pick your phone now and dial *787# now to play.
Well, and that's it for this segment of Business News. I'm Charles Aite. Coming up next is Sports with Gary L. Smith. Do stay.
Gary L. Smith here with the Sport. Thank you for your time. And the Ghana Football Association have announced that the 2020-21 season will start on November 13. Now, this follows the decision of the government to give the green light for football to resume. So we have decisions on the Ghana Premier League Division 1 and the Women's League in this report.
The nation's flagship football competition, the Ghana Premier League, is expected to kickstart from Friday, November 13th, while the Division 1 League kicks off on December 3rd, 2020. The Women's Premier League is set to kick off on January 2nd, 2021. This follows the decision of government to give the green light for football to resume. Clubs will need to fulfill all club licensing regulation requirements. The Club Licensing Board has the responsibility of vetting the license application of the clubs to ensure compliance with legal, administrative, finance, technical, medical, and security requirements of the GFA Club Licensing Regulation before issuing licenses to clubs. This should be submitted on or before October 5th, 2020. The Club Licensing Board is expected to begin inspection of venues and secretariat of clubs in the Premier League Division 1 and the Women's Premier League on October 6th, 2020. This will help affirm the decision to approve various centres submitted by the clubs if they meet the criteria. Clubs are to register their players at all levels for the new season to begin and is expected to end on the 1st of October. The Premier League, Division 1 and the Women's League clubs have up to midnight of November 5th to submit the final list of their players and officials for the new season. The Ghana Football Association will also issue COVID-19 protocols and regulations in addition to the guidelines from FIFA and the Confederation of African Football, which were earlier sent to members.
Moving on, and the Black Stars have confirmed friendly matches. The director of the Ghana FA, Henry Asante Chuma, has explained why the outfit accepted proposals from Mali and Equatorial Guinea for international friendlies next month. According to him, the opponents will give CK Akono an idea about the quality of his team.
The Black Stars are yet to play a match since November last year, where they claimed victories against South Africa and Sao Tome and Principe in the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. The Ghana Football Association has confirmed the senior national team will play their counterparts Mali and Equatorial Guinea in 2 separate friendly games in Turkey early next month. CK Akono's boys will face Mali on October 9 before taking on Equatorial Guinea on October 12. Both games will be played behind closed doors and under strict COVID-19 protocols. The game against Mali will be CK Akono's debut as the head coach of the national team since his appointment early this year. His first game, which was supposed to be against Sudan in the AFCON qualifiers, has been belated due to the devastating impact of COVID-19. Communications Director of the FA, Henry Asante Chuma, has been explaining the essence of the matches.
We have been looking at what to do to keep the team busy and what to do to keep the team active. We realized that because of the COVID since March, we have not played any competitive game. The players were in lockdown. The coach did not get the chance to assess the strength of the team because of COVID.
The 4 times AFCON champions games against Mali and Equatorial Guinea, Henry reckons would be a perfect tone for CK to have an idea about his team.
Gives us the opportunity to test our strength against a team that is at the top. It will also give the coach a fair idea of the kind of squad he wants to build, and then he will also get the first hand information about some of the opponents on the African continent. Today it has become impossible to play European teams because of the UEFA Nations League. So European teams are out of the equation. The only opponents you can get are from either Africa, South America, or North America.
Ghana leads Group F with 6 points following victories in their opening 2 matches against South Africa and Sao Tome and Principe in November 2019.
Coming up in the next hour of sport, we have more on Duke Micah as he fights this weekend to angle for a world title. That will be after 8. I'm Gary Al Smith, and this leg of sport is done.
Time now for Showbiz. Becky is here with the very latest. Hello, Becky.
Hello to you, Aisha. It's a beautiful day, colorful evening. Look at me.
Oh, yes. You're looking very colorful.
Thank you. So let's talk about Killbeat. Killbeat is a music producer, one of Ghana's finest music producer. He's actually a Grammy. He holds a Grammy certificate in music. And also, so for the first time, Aisha, Killbeat has released an EP. 4 songs featuring Kim Promise and Oforian Ponsa. So he launched this particular EP. We were there and we came through with this.
This will be the first time Killbeat will be doing something like this. A couple of people, you know, in the industry, they've tried, but he's also tried one. Obviously, you're always doing the behind the scenes. What inspired this decision to bring this out?
It's because of I realized that high life in Ghana, now people are not doing the high life anymore. So I've realized that maybe the high life is going down. So we just have to kick it up. Yeah.
Personally, what's your view on?
I'm lucky. That's all I can say. I'm lucky. I'm blessed to stand in his presence and to work with him. I always look forward to working with him, and I got the chance, and since then we've been together, and he makes me love what I do, you know. So I'm just thankful that we get to do this together. You know, one of my dreams, I always loved Oforian Ponsa. I always wanted to work with him. Same thing with Killer, and what a time to be alive to do this with Killer. I'm blessed. I'm thankful. Yeah.
I want to talk about the artwork for the EP that has you and your baby. What inspired that decision? Did your baby inspire the decision of bringing out the, EP?
Yeah, I was happy to have my baby already. You know, I told you that's my firstborn, and I was so happy to have her. So I decided to, come on, love and happiness. You get me?
So at the same event, we caught up with Kewa, who is another fantastic producer, and he describes Killbeat as the best producer ever. Aisha, can you imagine, a colleague describing you
as the best?
But I know that you're the best, right?
You're the best.
Aisha, the best. Let's listen to Kewa.
I listened to it, brilliant EP. I mean, from beginning to end, I just appreciated the kind of sound he inculcated to just get what he wanted. And I've always maintained that. I've always said it, I'll say it again. Killbeat is a top producer. When I say top, the whole Ghana. I've always maintained that he's the best producer in Ghana.
Welcome back to Joy News Prime, and with Joy, the staff of Multimedia will be stepping out in style this Friday for the unveiling of the group's 25th anniversary fabric. On-air presenters especially are to use the fabric for their costumes. The cloth unveiling event is the next layer of the Multimedia Group's celebration of 25 years of excellence in broadcasting, which has impacted just about every Ghanaian, including families such as the Backmans. They say their love for Joy FM, the first brand in the group, remains unwavering. My colleague Fifi Kumsin has the story of the Backmans.
The group's dedication to excellent broadcasting has won for it many hearts and minds. Meet the Backmans. Michael Nimoy Backman was a postman at the time. He's now retired. I went to meet him and his family, all of whom are now part of our loyal audience.
Well, Joy has been my favorite station since its inception. You know, from the times of Tommy Annan Folsom, Dusty Wayne and Co.
For the Bachmans, Joy has been the family's radio station. The only son of the Bachmans, Jude Bachman, says listening to Joy made him a better student.
What makes me listen to Joy FM is there are news stories informed, straight to the point. I've been listening to Joy since I was born. Joy FM is one of the only. If I say one of the only, I'm lying. But Joy FM is the only station I can say that I've listened to, that I can keep listening to, because since I was a kid, Joy FM has been on throughout my life, and it's given me something of an edge.
My name is Rebecca Phoebe Addo Bachman. I'm the second born of 3 children of Mr. and Mrs. Bachman. So what makes me love Joy is their interest in English, especially how they present their news. And also, I have fond memories of Joy, where I had to meet Kwabena Kwamnam, one of the most influential journalists of some time ago.
You know, and I also like most of their programs. This Saturday, Home Affairs, Drive Time on Joy, and some other, everything about Joy. You know,
In other news, activities have begun to pick up at various hospitals across the country as nurses and midwives return to work after a 3-day strike to demand better conditions of service. Checks by Joy News at the Accra Regional Hospital show the nurses are attending to the hundreds of patients who are visiting the facility. The Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association on Monday defied a court order against the strike. Patients at various hospitals across the country were either turned away or left unattended to. The nurses announced a suspension of the strike after they were forced into a meeting with their employer on Wednesday. My colleague Manuel Cranting returned to the Bridge Hospital, where doctors were earlier taking up additional roles. Here are some of the patients he spoke to.
I heard that they went for strike, but they resumed this morning, so they are preparing to come attend to us here.
I'm so glad they are on duty, yes. This is my first time coming here. I hope the government sorts out things with them as soon as possible so that we can visit the facility anytime we want to come here. We learned they were on strike, and we heard they've resumed, so the number of patients here is encouraging. We are hoping that from tomorrow next, everybody can come here.
Well, I felt bad because without them, the patients, what are we going to do? So they have to take care of us. So we feel bad, but we thank God that they have come.
I was here last week, but we heard it in the news that they were on strike. But then yesterday we heard that they have come back to work. That's why I'm here.
And when you came, what has been the picture here?
It's quite, they are working.
Okay.
They are here and they are working.
Okay. Yes. So you're optimistic that they'll continue working?
We are all concerned about it.
Doctor bisa pam say enya namba no ba hospital ntimi fa ne yedon enko me pa ne chempo mo mi mpom so me sra no nurse bia ni ha doctor fo nko ana yedon e wa ha no doctor e bia we ko we ba we o flo obi ampo a obi enya tam yedon e ma eja e chapa na me adum why you me benefit more eja nsomede e wa ha no
the doctor for na eje na wo
doctor for me manu a energy awo no nurse bia ni ha no aha meti abontin ha ntima hu se bebire ebi abetwitwa mu a ntafe na mesimi bewura inside ho na dia enim se dan ya nyame adum omo aba omo kwa dia se enye papo nti Yesere aban yesere ne se ohun ye mobo na omoa na wo ega fi se nurse fo ni ho no nsem bebre nurse obi ba wo to ha se o se nka nurse wa han ke bia e masa onipa ne kire se wa chia onye obi njina wo efom ha no be wo to nti yesere aban ohun ye mobo na nurse fo no ega bibi on hwe wo ma won fe so mu ni ho ayenso eni ho nurse for no ega oyi nyame a omo na wo ho
akuma na ye me ya na me ba hospital o ye me ya 5 days ni ina ene ansa na me yeska na me ba hospital minim so mo strike but ene me ba hwe se ombeti me anya kwan ya hwe me ba e de omo ba next for mo hwe me se eba kitikpa eba serious a Jesus say me wo anu no
Sunday no e wa atomic e de ne baaye no ya de scan bibia aba omo ka kire me say omo hu hwe enti enfa ni nkofie na me say onipa o yare no mo hu hwe onipa na fie no say de o ya no kra de ni san dru fie e bia ye nya o nya nkwa enti ye pa mo chaw omo si da bi da na adwo no oba no beka ase David sade ne yere ne ye no e de ne kofie enya papa enti ye pa omo chaw omo de omo mane na ho na omo ntriti ni kakra na ade ye chia eye mind na ne ade no abarage omo se mfa ni kofie still ene ye se mfa ni kofie enti sister me kuma no kitanya na otofo aye de ne ba hande de ene doctors ne de me kra maka cha omo se nyame nshira wo enti ede ni dru ha ne mind na
Poor state of roads and drainage systems remain top of the agenda for residents of the Lejokuku constituency here in the Greater Accra region. While some believe the current MP, Dr. Addo deserves a second term for trying to deal with these, others disagree, saying the NDC's Ayuko deserves to be elected. We spoke with some of the constituents ahead of Battleground this evening.
The Lejokuku constituency covers areas including Tribleu, South and North Teshinungwa estates and Abolebu. The residents, including fisher folk who ply their trade along the coast, have their own concerns.
For us as the fisher folks, they have not even finished with the projects here for us to be able to assess them. If someone promises to give you a car but is yet to hand it over to you, there's little you can say till you get it. Even our roads have not been completed. This gutter has also been here for so many. People keep dying and the politicians do nothing about it. But when it's time for elections, they'll come and promise new things, then abandon us after that.
No mini generation wo ba ka atwa ho na me yende chiefi na gashi wo MP ne ni bane ahead to ne jigbende ge bateshi ne afiku na.
This current MP brought a lot of harbor motors for the fishermen. I'm really impressed. It's never happened in Teshi. I only wish they had given them out on credit for more people to own some.
We are happy with Okoboy. You know the main trade here at Teshi is fishing, but there's no factory to process or store the fishes. If the waves get turbulent and you cannot swim, you'll die.
The constituency made news in 2019 when residents demanded that a 7.5-kilometer road that passes in front of the Lekma Hospital is fixed.
It's a dusty ride and it's a bumpy ride.
We have complained about this issue to government, but nothing has been done about it. Our MP came here during elections. He campaigned about this road. Our MP promised to fix the roads for us, but after elections, nothing has been done. All the roads linking to other parts of the communities are all in bad state. Just take a look at me. I'm even sick. We plead that they do something about these roads.
We voted for MPP because of this. We didn't vote because the NDC couldn't do anything about it.
This road has since been fixed with contractors placing level of completion over 80%. The residents who are vocal and passionate about development are looking forward to the December polls.
Registration the consideration of the law.
The NPP's Addo will be seeking to make history as being the first MP to be given a second term. The NDC's Benayiku will have none of that, but the voters will decide, and they took turns to make a case for their candidates.
And that's on the battleground tonight. Now, Send Ghana, a non-governmental organization, is urging citizens to demand social protection as a right and not to see it as a favor done them by successive governments. Country Director of Send Ghana, George Osebimpe, spoke at a news conference to compare the social protection policies in the manifestos of both the NPP and the NDC.
Citizens themselves not approaching not assessing social protection on the basis of their right to social protection, and that even as a country, we tend to believe that when government provides social protection, it is a privileged service or a charity that government is providing. And to change that kind of mindset and to even get the citizens to mandate as a right, you will need an institution like the National Commission on Civic Education to work with, the ministry that is in charge of coordinating social protection in this country, to sensitize the citizens and to tell them that it is your right as a citizen of Ghana to have one form of social protection or
Send Ghana says citizens are calling for the abolition of double track system.
The first demand that we made was for them to make a commitment to provide more facilities. So in other words, infrastructure in schools to help accommodate increasing numbers. This is basically to address the infrastructural deficit in the education sector. And also interestingly, the citizens themselves were calling for the abolition of the double track. The double track, so far as the SHS is concerned. The NDC, I think many of you are aware, that made that commitment made a commitment to that effect. Unfortunately, the MPP did not make such a commitment to that.
Away from Send Ghana, the NDC parliamentary candidate for Cape Coast North and scores of NDC party supporters besieged the Central Regional EC office to demand for the voter ID of the candidate. This follows an order of mandamus granted by an Accra High Court compelling the Electoral Commission to register the candidate. The candidate's voter's ID was withheld by the EC following a successful challenge by an agent at Nkafua, where he registered. The supporters have been cursing the EC with bottles of schnapps and eggs at the EC Regional Party office.
It was a charged atmosphere here at the Electoral Commission's regional office in Cape Coast. Scores of party supporters massed up at the frontage of the office, demanding that the EC registers their parliamentary candidate, Dr. Kwamnam Intanyakon. They hurled invectives at the EC and rained curses on them, using a bottle of schnapp and some eggs. The chant grew wilder by the minute as more of the party supporters poured in. The commission's security detail here had a tough time controlling the crowd, and so the police had to come in to ensure sanity. The parliamentary candidate for Cape Coast North, Dr. Kwamnam Intanyakon, was in the thick of affairs and explains why they had to mass up at the EC.
Because what it meant was that we were supposed to have taken that order and the registration should have been done. You see, there has been issues with the EC's activity all this while. The emphasis here is that my name is already on the system, which they claim wasn't. So when we were doing the exhibition, I went to check and my name was there. Prior to that, they had told us that we've been disqualified and our names are not on that particular list. So we were not surprised to see that my name was on the list. And then the serious part of it is that the name on the list, someone has used a red pen to write disqualified. And I think that is even unethical. If my name was not on the list, why should my picture appear on the exhibition? Okay. And secondly, why should someone use a pen? I'm sure the system should have taken my name to the session list. But once it's there, that means there's been some issues there. Because remember, during the registration, my card was issued to me. I left the premises. I was called back to come that someone has challenged me after an hour. Then they took the card from me. When the end of day report came, my name was not captured on the challenge list. That means invariably I wasn't challenged. Okay, the EC lawyer came and lied. When I was challenged, my argument was that the person should be resident in the electoral area. I have 2 properties in the same electoral area. Unfortunately, the EC lawyer came again and lied that 3rd Ridge is in Cape Coast South. Meanwhile, the EC movement plan captures 3rd Ridge and Nkamfo electoral area as one electoral area. So on what basis are you saying that my 3rd Ridge property is in Cape Coast South? These are discrepancies that has come up, and I'm sure that is what is also delaying them to go out with the registration because of their own unethical behavior that has happened. And you see, the sad thing is that when I was challenged, that was on the 7th of July. The returning officer signed it on the 8th of July. Why? They know that time for filing is fast approaching. Their denial will mean that I will not be able to file. And if I'm not able to file, that means I can't contest. And that is why we need the expeditious nature of this thing to be enacted.
What happens when we leave here? Are you going to stay here till you get a card?
No, we've been having a very good conversation with the regional officer, and she's made it out known to us that she's talking to National. And for that matter, we should come tomorrow, and then she's hopeful she'll give us the right information that we so desire. So we'll be here tomorrow. However, should we not get the card tomorrow, or should we not get any positive feedback, the rest will be a thing of the past.
Some of the party supporters spoke with Joy News.
And the rule of law has its basis coming from the law courts. Why is it that it is taking them days, or it has taken them days before they can just register one person? It is very, very disheartening. We don't know why they are bent on delaying this one. And you know one thing, the exhibition ends on Sunday. It was supposed to end tomorrow, but now ends on Sunday. So just imagine if tomorrow he's registered. How can he go and do his registration?
Cape Coast North Branch Executives, we are more than 700. We are coming in our numbers to collect our card. So we'll fail the Wabaya Damazana, Yabama Abeni Osidi, Onion Carrot parliamentary member, Oya Honorable Barbara Ashaisi, the most incompetent MP we have ever produced in Cape Coast North. Yabama Wehunde, Messiafo when people be when this.
Central Regional Chairman of the NDC, lawyer EKT Addo, asked the party supporters to go home and return on Friday morning. Richard Kwabena Kwamnam, Joy News, Cape Coast.
Let's talk about roads, because Roads and Highways Minister Kwabena Kwamnam has revealed a total of 47 different road projects are currently under construction in the Bono East region. The minister mentioned this during the sword cutting ceremony for the construction of the Palu Dam road. According to him, contrary to an online publication that the project will start 7 months after sword cutting, the contractor is already on site working. Anna Sabit is our man there.
Roads and Highways Minister Mr. Kwabena Kwamnam at a press briefing held in Techiman paid a mental picture of the current state of the road network in the Bono East region.
Bono East has a total road network of 4,550 kilometers. And out of these, only 17% is paved. 17% is paved, representing 778 kilometers. The remaining 83% or so remain at either gravel or earth state.
The minister, who was part of the list of ministers who toured the region as part of the president's two-day working visit to the region, highlighted the number of road projects currently under construction in the Bono East region.
Ladies and gentlemen, if we take Bono East, we have 47 different road projects going on simultaneously. 47 going on across the length and breadth of this region. Ghana Highway Authority is working on 24 projects. Department of Federal Roads is working on 15 projects, and Department of Urban Roads is working on 8 projects, totaling 47 ongoing projects.
Mr. Amakwata indicated that the Palu Kwamnam road, which is considered as one of 3 critical roads in the region, is being awarded to one of the finest contractors in the country.
You know the importance of Palu Kwamnam road in a terrible condition. All these years, it had never been worked on, it had never seen bitumen. Terrible road. And is considered one of the critical, important roads for so many reasons. It's being worked on and being brought to bituminous level. So the people of this region deserve it. The people of this country deserve that road.
The minister, however, expressed disappointment at a recent online publication that portrayed that the project would commence 7 months after the sword-cutting ceremony by the president.
It's estimated that the work will be completed in 30 months, specifically by October 2022. And the contractor has been on site for 4 months now and is almost completing a 15-kilometer stretch of it. Sword was cut by His Excellency the President, and today if you go to Ghana Well, it has been reported by one of you that the President cut the sword and work will start in 7 months from now. I mean, how can there are mistakes. All of us make errors and mistakes. But how can, you see that you yourselves are laughing, those of you who were there. How can anybody make such a mistake? The entire 15-kilometer stretch that is almost getting ready to receive bitumen, we all drove on it. The machines were there. And when we drove on it, everybody saw the contractor on site working because they were working.
Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Techiman.
A Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the Northern Development Authority, Hajia Larba Abudu, has finally denied reports of her involvement in the disappearance of some 400 tricycles belonging to the authority. Hajia Larba was alleged to have masterminded the relocation of the 400 tricycles that reportedly got vanished from the guarded premises of the NDA in Tamale. But Hajia Larba has described the accusations as a myth to score political points and must be treated with the utmost contempt. She spoke to correspondent Elias Tanko.
She was speaking in an interview with Joy News in Wale Wale, where she delivered over 1,000 dual decks to be distributed to some 20 basic schools in the West Mamprose municipality under the government $1 million per constituency promise.
Allegation is alleging until it is proven. I also saw something like that I stole about 400 motorbikes. I don't know how many the motorbikes were. Then I alone have taken 400. I think it's not true and it can never be true because I have a CEO and I have other police working with me. So we have a management in place. So whatever decision, we will have a very vibrant board that won't sit down for somebody to take 400 motorcycles. I think it was just a myth to score political points, and I think it didn't see the data.
The deputy CEO, who doubles as the MPP parliamentary candidate for the Wale Wale constituency, also praised President Akufo-Addo for creating the Northern Development Authority, which she insisted has outperformed the NDC's Savannah Accelerated Development Authority.
Definitely. Why am I saying so? I have just tabulated the projects that we have done under Northern Development Authority. Tell me, what projects did we do under 7? 1, the Agambila project, the Guinea Fowl project. Where did it end? I learned they were in Burkina Faso. We are waiting for them. You know, we have the dams here, they are here. We have the markets here, they are here. We have the warehouses, they are here. You can see and you can testify to it. As the Vice President said, if the dams are not fixed, they are here, we can fix them better. You know, so it's like physical infrastructure, then the Burkina Faso infrastructure. You know, that's the Guinea Fowl. So SADA actually can't compare with NDA. NDA has done a lot and we are still doing.
The 1 million one constituency initiative aims to eradicate poverty and minimize inequality among socio-economic groups within geographical areas through the direct provision of basic infrastructure at the constituency level. The municipal chief executive of the area, Arimia Osomolaki, who received the intervention, expressed gratitude to the Vice President and the Northern Development Authority for fulfilling the promise. Ilyasu Tanko reporting for Joy News.
The Ghana Maritime Authority has announced a significant reduction in toxic emissions from ships as part of efforts to reduce mortality among Ghanaian women by using its strategic regulatory framework. Speaking at the World Maritime Day event on the theme Sustainable Shipping for a Sustainable Planet, the Director General Thomas Kofi Alonzi explained the authority has procured sulfur test kits and other equipment to ensure compliance to global standards.
The problems associated with greenhouse gas emissions have caused a lot of concern globally, notably climate change. And now the big issue is how shipping will reduce its emissions. There are also global concerns that carbon dioxide emissions from shipping is expected to rise to about 250% by the year 2050 if no action is taken. It is worth stating that the most effective way to minimize shipping's contribution to air pollution and its impact on climate change is to create regulatory frameworks for the shipping industry that is fair and effective, universally adopted and globally implemented. This, I must say, has been a key achievement of the International Maritime Organization and its member states. It is worth mentioning that from 1st January 2020, sulfur oxide emissions from ships have been reduced considerably with sufficient benefits for human health and the environment. I must say that this could not have been achieved without the commitment of the maritime industry and key stakeholders throughout the supply chain. The implementation of the new sulfur limit falls within the remit and responsibility of the Ghana Maritime Authority. I am therefore pleased to announce that the authority procured sulfur test kits and other equipments to ensure compliance of this very important regulation through our flag state and post-state implementation measures.
On its part, the Chief Director of the Ministry of Transport, Mabel Sego, applauded the Ghana Maritime Authority for the role it is playing in reducing pollution.
This year's theme, Sustainable Shipping for a Sustainable Planet, focuses attention on an urgent matter that should keep all of us awake at night as our planet is in peril and require urgent attention. This, I believe, is precisely why the IMO chose this theme to serve as an opportunity to raise awareness on the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Since 2017, the GMA has procured 7 speedboats with which officials of the authority are patrolling in the country's ports to ensure no illegal activity takes place and also to conduct search and rescue activities. This is to ensure that the troubling menace of pirate activities is kept under control.
And we take a break. On Joy News Prime, we'll bring you more business.
Hello there, it's time for the second segment of Business with me, Charles Aite. Now, commercial banks say that they have advanced over 4 cedis billion cedis in fresh credits to businesses during COVID-19 restrictions. Now, this represents a significant increase over what has been given to the enterprises from March to April this year. President of the Ghana Association of Bankers, Alhassan Andani, tells Joy Business the credit has been directed to sectors that will help stimulate growth. He's been speaking ahead of his appearance on PM Express Business Edition tonight.
Allocating credit to the right sectors, and there are some sectors now who don't need credit, they need accommodation. So if you take the hotels, they've taken large volumes of loans to build this infrastructure, which they were paying according to a time schedule. Because the world has shut down, if you were looking for this hotel to be paying, so the entire 2020, no bank, no financier will be expecting hotels to repay loans. No financier will be expecting an airline company to be repaying loans. Nobody will be expecting all these small traders who plied their trade on the street to be repaying loans just because their world had come to a halt. Banks have to absorb all of that. Then, of course, you have all the telcos, data, all the fintechs are flourishing. They need money, and we're giving money to them. And I was happy to look at the economic data recently, agriculture, and I've always held that with all the monetary loosening that we are seeing, if we were plowing that into local production and local consumption, the fear of causing inflation would not arise.
From the Ghana Association of Bankers' perspective in terms of credit extension since COVID began, I mean, I remember the last time we were talking about 3 billion, not the exact numbers per se, but in terms of total credit extension to the various manufacturing, logistical industries, do we have any data as we speak right now?
Look, we've been polling it consistently. The central bank has been monitoring it. I couldn't tell it top of my head, but I'm sure where we sit today, we're well over 4 billion, cedis in terms of total credit, whether it's being rearranged, new credits, existing credits that were held but which are now being extended. It continues to flow through.
And you may want to join George Rafi as well as the president of the Bankers Association, Alhassan Andani, tonight on PM Express as they engage on the topic of banking beyond COVID-19. You may want to stay tuned for that. But well, banks are now taking some tough measures that will prevent staff caught in fraudulent acts from gaining new jobs in the industry. Now, this is part of new measures being implemented to help reduce such practices in the banking sector. The move follows a significant jump in reported fraud cases for last year, which exceeded 2,000 cases alone. Now, the report also revealed that the majority of these fraud cases were perpetrated by staff of the financial institutions. John Eria is the chief executive of the Ghana Association of Bankers.
There are consequences for these things that happen, and the individual institutions that record these frauds, depending on the mode or the modus operandi of the fraud incident, people pay the price. But the ultimate is to get to a level where, much as you say you have zero tolerance, you have the systems to drive that agenda of zero tolerance. As to whether it's because the money is here or there, if my money is not in my bank, it's in another bank. So if that bank is also not enforcing the controls that must be in place, then how safe am I? So it's not a matter of whether it is my money or not, because we are all at risk. And it's in the interest of actors and players in the industry to come together, share more information. I think that is where the solution lies. These people who perpetrate the fraud, sometimes they are sacked from one institution, then they find their way in another institution.
Now, did you know that your HR manager may not have the qualification to practice after all? Well, checks by the Institute of HR Management Practitioners show that many heads of human resource departments across various companies are either not registered or licensed. Now, in 2021, this trend will cease as the Institute in charge of HR practitioners gains a charter status, can't seek presidential assent. What this means is that HR practitioners are now bound to abide by HR regulations or risk legal implications in that matter. Let's hear from the president of the Institute of Human Resource Management Practitioners, Dr. Edward Kwapon.
With this legal recognition and mandate,
our certificates will be more respected and more credible in the eyes of management. We know when a law is passed, you need an ally that will operationalize the law. And we have a time frame of about 6 months to 1 year to do that. And when that goes through Parliament, then we'll be able to, do that. So give and take, in a year's time, you should be doing the needful.
2021, hopefully.
So many institutions and companies, we realize that the heads of HR functions are not professional HR people. If you are not doing too well in some function, they pick you and drop you into HR. We should guard against that. We should protest. We should bring this to the attention of the institute, that we need professionals, licensed professionals, to do or practice HR in this.
Well, and that's it for business. Coming up next is sports with Gary L. Smith. To stay.
Time now for the sport. Gary L. Smith here. First of all, let's show you what has been trending on our Instagram page today. Don't forget to hit that follow button when I'm done. It's at Joy Sports GH. So, today, among other things, Zlatan Ibrahimovic has been confirmed as having coronavirus. And so AC Milan gave a statement, and that first story there, he tweeted and said, and for those who follow Zlatan, you would not be surprised, he said, I tested positive to COVID yesterday and negative to COVID yesterday and positive today. No symptoms whatsoever. COVID had the courage to challenge me. Bad idea. Being bullish as usual. And we have the video of the sports minister, Isaac Esiama, saying the government will give Kotoko and Ashgo $350,000 to go to Africa. That's it. And then the last one, Daniel Amate, we see it there on the bottom left. Daniel Amate, yes, he is having a lifeline at Leicester City because Nigerian player Wilfred Ndidi has got an injury. Now, you remember that about 2 years ago, Ndidi only started getting regular playing time because Ghana's Amate got injured. Times have changed, and now Ndidi has gotten injured, and Amate is likely to now get playing time. Talk about reversal of fortunes. All right, let's move on to our other stories. We are building up here at Joy Sports to the big fight this weekend. Duke Micah of Ghana has vowed to do all within his power to become the latest man from the country to win a world boxing title, and says that his opponent in Saturday's world title showdown, John Real Casemiro, is one of the best fighters in the division ahead of their slugfest this coming weekend. Now, Micah, don't forget, is undefeated in 24 fights and is hopeful of bringing home the WBO bantamweight title to Ghana this weekend. There was no goal there, but you can get more updates on our Twitter at JoySportsGH, and later with me on FanZone at 10:30. I'll be showing you the highlights. That's the sport for now. Thank you for your time.
Time for the interactive segment. You know how to join the conversation on Facebook, on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. It's all on Joy News TV. Now, you know the former president, John Mahama. He's also the NDC flag bearer, who's been speaking about the exhibition exercise, voter exhibition exercise, which he says is shrouded with a lot of incompetence. And he says the EC is mismanaging voters register. And he says that is leading to the omission of names from their strongholds, and more names added in areas that are MPP strongholds. Let's check out what you've been saying. We posted this on Facebook. It has a number of comments. Jones J. Kumi says, Mr. JDM, your desperation even surprises the devil. Duplication of voter ID numbers is not new. It happened in 2012, 2014 during the limited registration exercise. The essence of exhibition is to mediate challenges of the register. Why are you trumpeting mischief as if something novelty has happened? Benjamin says, Mr. John Mahama. People cannot travel from their towns to district capitals because of what? We always use the poor farmer. The more reason why children even know farming doesn't pay and would never venture into it. All of us will be riding Okada. Then we will chew raw CD notes because Okada pays much. VW cars produced in Ghana are inferior. Free SHS wasn't possible. Back to track. The exhibition is to check and correct anomalies. So what else should we do about it? Perfect John. Mediocre spirit. Bright Oman Bapa says, John Mahama, I would personally advise you to boycott this election since the grounds are not good for you. And he says, Nama Addo Sentono Aji baby. Bafo says, John Mahama is indeed stewing in desperation. God please help prepare his mind and heart for when his unavoidable defeat happens. And I'm blessed, Muhammad says, during news, who is accusing who? You know what's going on better than we do. Instead of you saying the truth, you're here talking. Oh, why are you dragging us into this? This is an NDC EC debate. Why are you dragging us into it? Nana Sapon says, what at all is Mahama seeking to achieve in life? You have everything, including hotels in Dubai. And okay. Mohammed Ghazali says, we have IPAC. All concerns that parties have, they are supposed to take it to IPAC. You go to IPAC, you discuss the issue with the Electoral Commission, and the Commission takes the consensus of the majority. So if you alone disagree, it must be your will. And there are a lot of more there. And a number of the comments, a sign language instructor is funny. Okay, so that's what bothers you. Anyway, so those are some comments there. Today, the cocoa produced buying prices have been increased, the producer price to 28%, and that makes it 10,560 per metric ton. And the president announced that should come as good news for the farmers. We posted this on Facebook. Let's check out the comments there. Derry Peter says cocoa price will surely increase during election period, but cocoa fertilizer was left to rot and dumped in the bush. John Mekumak says JM is giving you more pressure, more fire from JM. This shows clearly, and you know it, that Ghanaian farmers already decided to vote for JM. It shows how this government okay, Ghanaians, boy, let's come out 7th December and vote okay against the NPP. Okay, Ken Farrakhan says for votes, and Echo Akin says still kick Nana out. Ronald says you will still lose. James Marshall says 4 more to do more. Cyril says see the way JDM is giving this this is a bit too harsh. I mean, we must not be harsh in our messages. And this one says another Tuli, still Mahama Fa. Ama Asabia says Addo show boy, Papa was sent to know Ajibebia. And those are some of the comments on our Facebook page. And that'll be it for the interactive segment. More comments on our Facebook page. You can get on and read more for yourself. And that'll be it also for the bulletin. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com for all the updates. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Many thanks for watching. PM Express Business Edition comes up next. Enjoy the rest of our program.